So this is going to be the tutorial on how to get started with your vector portrait drawing. So at this point now, you should have your portrait photos to use for this picture. So I'm actually going to just use this portrait photo here. This is one of my students' works from previous years, but I'm going to do a vector drawing of this portrait. So I'm going to try to do something a little differently with this picture. I saw most of your photos that you've taken. You included clothes, and you may have included other items in your pictures, and not just did a close-up of the face. Now, I'm just letting you know right now, this kind of a portrait drawing to do. This is a little bit more challenging than, say, just doing just a face. So this is like a good example we looked at of last class. Where they focused on the face, and the most important thing about your project is you want to make sure to get the correct values on the face. All right, but whereas this is just the face, you're just doing the values in the face. This type of picture, you're doing the values throughout the entire picture, the face, the clothes, the hands, and that book. Alright, so this one's a little more complex to do. Now, I'm not going to limit you to, what you want to draw, but, I'm just letting you know right now, something like this, it still looks nice when you're finished with it. There's something like this. This is, a little easier than, saying, doing the entire body and everything in the picture. Alright, that's just something to keep in mind of when you're first deciding on what pictures you're going to work. But I'm just going to use a more complex one just so those of you that wanted to do it that way, I'm going to show you the proper way of how you should be doing it. So we're going to use this image here, and the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to put this into Photoshop. So you just click and drag your image into Photoshop, and we're going to do some photo editing to this to make the drawing easier to work on. Now, the very first thing you want to do is you want to go to your adjustments panel, and if you don't have an adjustments panel pop, you want to go to Windows and click on Adjustments. And these options on the adjustments panel, these are basic editing tools you can use to edit your photo. So we're just going to click on the one that says black and white, and that's going to instantly turn your photo black and white. Alright, the most important thing is that we're going to be doing these photos in black and white just so we can get those values correct in the picture. Now, if you want to go back at the end and you want to add colors to it, you can change the colors later, but the most important thing is you want to have your values correct in the picture. And sometimes doing values with colors is a little more complicated, so we're going to do it in black and white first. So you change it to black and white, and if you look at your layers window, there's going to be a layer that says black and white, and that's where you create your black and white. Then you want to click on the brightness and contrast. Alright, when you click on brightness and contrast, it's going to be another window. It's going to be your properties windows, and this is where you can adjust the brightness and the contrast of the picture. So it's going to control your lights and darks in the picture. So you want to have your contrast way up. I'm going to leave it up on 100 for me, and this is going to control your light and dark areas in the picture. So Command minus, Command plus is going to zoom in. So I want to actually zoom in on the face because we're going to spend a good part of the drawing on the face, and you want to make sure you have those nice values on the face. Alright, so you have your contrast all the way up. This is going to push your lights and darks to the extreme. So when you're drawing your values, like the grays, the whites, and the darker areas, it's going to be a lot easier to draw when you work on your drawing. And we're going to make this a little darker than usual. It's a pretty bright picture, so right here we have some nice white areas we can use. We have some gray areas, and then we have some dark areas. So, this is going to make your picture easier. And Another thing you can do too with your image, there's some things you don't want to have in your picture, like these cables here. I don't like, this pole here. You can also use the crop tool, which looks like this. You can press C, or it looks like a frame almost, and you can crop your picture. And the cropping is just, you're gonna cut off the edges of your page. Now, those of you that had me in photography, we talked a lot about rule of thirds. So, rule of thirds is like tic-tac-toe. You want your subjects in one of these four corners. You can use that for your portrait photos to help enhance the picture. So, I'm actually going to cut a little bit off the top of his head because you don't really need that. And I think this is pretty good right here. So, alright, so once you get this picture here, then you can click on something else, and this is a pretty nice picture to use for my the vector drawing. Alright, and then once you're happy with how it looks, then well, let's just say you want to make changes to it. There's not really much changes you can make, but if you want to, let's just say you accidentally clicked off the layer with the brightness and the contrast. If you want to try to get back to that, the panel to control it, you just click on brightness and contrast in your layers, and you can control it again. So I'm actually going to leave it on 35 because that looks pretty good. And alright, once you're happy with how the image looks, you want to go to File, Save As, and okay, real important, make sure to save the format as a JPEG. Alright, because if you try to click and drag a Photoshop file into Illustrator, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to rename this vector image. So this is going to be an image I'm going to use for my vector drawing, and just save. This is going to save my desktop. Make sure to save this as maximum 12 quality, and click OK. And alright, and you're all set for your image that you're going to use. And well, the next tutorial that I'll make, I'm actually going to show you how to get started with how you're going to do your tracing. Alright, but this made a tutorial for how to edit your photo to make it easier on you for your drawing.